Okay, for today's dive, I want to let us all in on a particular literary device that John uses throughout the book. Several key moments. John hears one thing, then turns and sees something different. And that sequence of hearing one thing and seeing something else really helps unpack the symbolism going on at the heart of many of these visions. So as we're jumping in to this really important moment where there's this scroll that needs to be opened, and we're looking for the one who is worthy. Let's jump in. Revelation 5, 1 through 7. Then I saw a scroll in the right hand of the one seated on the throne. It had writing on the front and on the back, and it was sealed with 7 seals. I saw a powerful angel who proclaimed in a loud voice, "Who is worthy to open the scroll and break its seals?" But no one, in heaven or on earth or under the earth, could open the scroll or look inside of it. So I began to weep and weep because no one was found worthy to open the scroll or look inside. Then one of the elders said to me, "Don't weep. Look, the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has emerged victorious so that he can open up the scroll and its 7 seals." Then, in between the throne and the 4 living creatures and among the elders, I saw a lamb standing as if it had been slain. It had 7 horns and 7 eyes, which are God's 7 spirits sent out to the whole earth. He came forward and took the scroll from the right hand of the one seated on the throne. So this, we'll put it in the show notes, but there's some clear references, especially to the book of Daniel, but a lot of the prophets. But this image of the one seated on the throne is the Ancient of Days from Daniel 7. And we're looking for someone to come and be worthy to open this mysterious scroll. What could that be? This scroll and the seals. And you actually kind of have to keep reading through the book of Revelation to start unpacking this. But essentially, this is the will and judgment and salvation of God that is about to be enacted on the earth. Who is worthy to open the scroll becomes the act of actually unleashing God's power for salvation, for judgment, for renewal upon the earth, which will come both judging against evil and actually redeeming the righteous. And so this is a really important moment where the scroll needs to be opened so that the power and purpose of God can be unleashed. But no one is worthy. No one is worthy to open this. And again, this is a theme that goes back to some of the prophets. And then here, I wanted to draw our attention to a rhetorical device that John uses throughout the book of Revelation that is really just an important key to understand and kind of keep in our mind. This image shows up again and again, or this kind of cadence shows up again and again, where John hears one thing, but he sees something different. And so there's this moment where he hears something spoken and then he turns and he looks. And so here we have, I heard one of the elders said to me, he hears the Lion of the tribe of Judah, the Root of David, has emerged victorious so that he can open the scroll and the 7 seals. But then it says, I turned and I saw a lamb standing as if it had been slain. And so you have this dichotomy, this contrast here, where he hears Lion of the tribe of Judah, he sees lamb standing as if it had been slain. And you're supposed to bring those two together and say, okay, what does it mean that the lion looks like a lamb that was killed? He doesn't come first as a lion and then morphs into a lamb as though slain. He hears lion, but he has always been the lamb as though slain. It's like the power and the might, the conquering, the victory of the lion actually comes through this very counterintuitive, upside-down way, the lamb that was slain. And so he hears lion, but he looks and he sees the lamb. There's also a great connection here, the Root of David. This is from Isaiah chapter 11. It's the Root of David. It's the prophetic way of talking about the promise that God gave to King David originally. This is, I'm going to build up a house and your descendants will always sit on the throne, and the son of David is the one who's going to bring about all of my purposes. And so this idea, the line of the tribe of Judah is the kingly tribe. The Root of David goes back to Isaiah. and this idea that this is the true Son of David has come, and he has emerged victorious, so that he can open the scroll, so he can unleash God's purposes. But how has he been victorious? It's not, paradoxically, it's not actually coming as a lion. It's actually coming as a lamb. But we're supposed to actually hold those two together, and not they don't cancel each other out. It's not like, oh, actually John was wrong, it's no longer a lion. We're supposed to think of this whole scene as saying, no, he is the lion, but the way he is the lion is as a lamb. This is kind of getting into the strange world of the book of Revelation, to kind of see it that way. One final thought here that kind of takes us back as a segue back into the letters that we spent so much time with is this word victorious. If you can remember, it shows up again and again. At the end of all the 7 letters to the 7 churches, to the one who emerges victorious, to the one who emerges victorious, or to the one who conquers, or the one who overcomes, depending on your translation. And here, what does victory look like? Victory looked like a lamb who was slain, but then conquered death. And so victory doesn't look like me picking up a sword and slaying all of my enemies. It's the way of victory, the way of conquering for the Christian is the way of the slain lamb. And so to reflect even on that, our whole perspective on what even victory means should be shaped by this image here. We can use language like the lion and victorious and the root of David, but when we actually try to apply that, it doesn't look like picking up a bigger weapon and destroying our enemies by force. It looks like the lamb standing as though he had been slain. So there's a lot there to unpack, maybe reflecting on that this week as we get ready for the climactic moment when these seals actually start to get broken and the scroll begins to be unleashed into the world. That's kind of takes us through the next major section of the book of Revelation.